Hi, thank you for joining me. This is lesson 48, and we're covering today negative commandment number 320. Negative commandment number 320 is you shall not do any manner of malacha from Exodus 20, verse 10. And that probably sounds familiar, and it really should sound familiar. We covered that days ago, and we covered it more than once. This is I explained yesterday because we were reading through in Mishnah Torah. Um, the Now we just are finishing up the section on Shabbos specifically, and moving into the learning about an eruv, eruvin. An eruv is when you have like a wall that you construct around a location so that it allows it to qualify that area to qualify for being able to carry items through the area, and this I I went and listened to what a couple rabbis had gone over for today, since we're covering a section again that we've already done. And how are they talking about it? And so, if you want to hear Rabbi Taub talk about it, he really kind of said something that I think bears repeating. So I do want to give Rabbi Taub credit. You can watch his video in the link in the description. The link is to the Chabad Sefer HaMitzvos website for the day. But under that, you can see what different rabbis are teaching or have taught regarding the daily lesson. So Rabbi Taub, he brought up that that a lot of people have a misconception about an eruv. Um, Perhaps you've heard about an eruv. A lot of people who aren't Jewish, for some reason, know a lot and care a lot about the idea of an eruv. Um, there was recently there was a huge like controversy in New Jersey because there's a Jewish community. I think it was in the Upper Saddle River, New Jersey area, and where my mother grew up. But there's a Jewish community there now that wasn't so prevalent when she was there as a child. But so what they're doing is they were putting up an eruv around the city. Now you don't actually have to put a big physical wall around a neighborhood in order to have it qualify then to be an Arab that you can carry within. The way they do it is by just putting a line, using like heavy like fishing line or something like that from a telephone to telephone pole, and the energy company will actually do the job, as far as I know. And so they'll attach this line at the top of the poles, and then just go around the neighborhood, and then that makes it so like this is all an agreed upon domain that you can carry through without an issue. And this is really important because this allows women to push the strollers with their babies, or to be able to carry a book through the area on Shabbos, etc. It really does make life a lot easier. Here in our neighborhood, we don't have an eruv, and so we're really restricted on what we can do, and we haven't worked it out yet. It's something that with God's help we will get that worked out. but it's not something that you just do and not know what you're doing and say it's okay, um, or just say we're gonna ignore that. The here's the where people get hung up on the idea of an eruv. A lot of people think um, that you're figuring out a loophole to get past a biblical commandment, and that is actually never true. We are never, God forbid, able to loophole a biblical command. The only times where a command might be kind of not really set aside, but another command can come and take precedence over another command. So, like for instance, we don't eat we don't eat pork. Okay, that's a mitzvah. Spoiler: we haven't got there yet. Um, but we also have the mitzvah of protecting our life. And so if I find myself, God forbid, in a place where there's nothing else to eat, I'm on a desert island with nothing but a bunch of pigs. I have to kill and I have to eat in order to survive that situation because life is so important. That's called pikuach nefesh. The To save a life, we set aside um, most of the commandments in order to be able to save a life. But it's not the same thing as a loophole. A loophole would be saying, here, if you cook like that pig a certain way, or if you make that pig, somehow chew his cud, which they don't naturally do. If you somehow could do that, then that pig is all of a sudden now you could eat that pig. And there's no such thing. God forbid. There's no or if I understand something properly, I understand that mitzvah wasn't really talking about eating pig. There's no such way to do a loophole against a commandment. God forbid. However, there are times that the rabbis have set up fences to make sure that we don't break a commandment. So they'll set the bar a little bit higher so that we're not unintentionally breaking a command. So here the rabbis want to make sure that we aren't doing something we shouldn't do, and so they take away some of the I hope I'm explaining this right. Some of the ambiguity or the confusion. They make the situation a little easier to understand. And so they say, in this type of an area, a Carmelite, as my understanding, it's a little complicated, but in this kind of a area, you're not allowed to carry anything. Biblically, you are allowed to carry in that area. However, there's a rabbinic prohibition against that, and so they're out. The rabbis, rather than just trying to make things harder for us, they're keep trying to make it so that we don't unintentionally break a mitzvah. Um, and also, then they come and they tell us, but if you meet um, these certain guidelines, if you meet these criteria, then you can carry in there because there's this other thing that we talk about. There's this other concept called an eruv, and if you could set up an eruv, then that will kind of override the issue that's rabbinically prohibited. So if you can meet that criteria, then you're going to be able to carry through that area. And so that's what we're learning about today. And Eruv, to sum it all up, here's what I want to say for today: is there are no loopholes to get past a biblical commandment. Anything that you hear about that might seem like a loophole, a Jewish loophole, loopholes are rabbinically sanctioned only for getting past a rabbinic prohibition. So I hope that helps. I hope that's a concept that is a helpful idea. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day in every way. Bye bye.